Hello everybody, welcome to tutorial number 8. On this tutorial we're going to add some equipments, just simple equipments. We're just going to add, not going to add any piping or anything. And on the next video, tutorial number 9, we're going to actually create a custom equipment with a predefined shape. So let's get started with this one. So at this point everybody should have this little structure going on. So you should have your platforms, your structural members, your footings, your railings, your ladder, and last but not least, your stairs. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to hide everything but our grid. So again, you can do that from the structure ribbon, or we're gonna just do it from the home ribbon, just to see where else you can do it at. So under home ribbon, and there's also visibility palette here as well. So we're just gonna click on the very middle one, hide others, and everything should be hidden. So the first thing we're going to do is add a tank. We want to add the tank in this open area, this open square area that we left open. And so the first thing we need to do is we need to move our user defined coordinate system uh, to that plane. So that is going to be where it's added, because right now it's at the top. As you remember, we added the platform. To do that, go ahead and just click on the little axis user defined coordinate system indicator, and just grab the very middle grip there and just drag it to the second from the bottom point of the grid, just like I have done here. So now this is our XY plane, and that's where we want it to work at. Okay, so usually when you're given to asked to put equipment somewhere, you're gonna be given its location from a grid line. So let's per se here my grid line. It could be said that, okay, so add a pump that's center point is 500 millimeters from grid B toward grid C, and let's say 500 millimeter from what is it, 1 toward 2, or something like that, or you can see that in the picture. So right now we want to add it just right in the middle of this one. So the best thing for us to do would be to draw a line so we can snap onto the midpoint of the line, which would make our life so much easier. So let's go ahead and create layer. First, I have already made mine. So go ahead, click on layer properties. Again, layer properties are also available under the home ribbon and layers. Go ahead and click on the layer properties and click on the new layers, and let's create a new one called equipments. Put the color to color number 40, so it's easy to see, orange. Okay, and double click on it to make it the current layer, and let's cross it and get out. So we're gonna draw a line. I'm gonna show you a different way of drawing a line because we're going to be also starting to work with the modeling ribbon. So go ahead and go to the modeling ribbon, and as you get to the modeling ribbon, you would see a palette called draw. Now there's a lot of options. Well, some of them you can use a lot of them, and we can when we will, but usually the best way to learn is just hover over it. It says 3 point creates an arc using 3 points. Oh, that's pretty useful. So if you just kind of stay over it for a bit, the secondary explanation opens up, and it's actually pretty self-explanatory. And if you do want, you can press F1, and the help is actually very, very expansive. So we're just going to use the line command. So we're gonna create a line. Again, get into habit of reading the command prompt. It says specify first point. So what we're gonna do, gonna choose the midpoint of this line here, and then our second point is going to be midpoint of this line here. So either press enter to get out, or press escape. Actually, escape might also delete the line that you just drawn. Just try enter. And so we are ready to place our equipment. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So go back to the home tab, and let's go over to this little palette here called equipment. So we're going to click on create equipment, and this little dialog window should pop up. On that, you would have a first this drop down menu, and then there's a lot of options we can choose. So currently, just right now, we're going to choose a vessel, and under vessel we're going to choose a vertical vessel. Okay, so then it should populate like so. Here you can see kind of a 3D representation of your vessel here. Let's go ahead and click on equipment if it's not already selected. Under shapes, toruspheric head and the top, then you get to see the middle cylinder and the bottom. So first of all, we're going to decide what's going to be our let's first say our diameter. So let's click on the toruspheric part head, and so we change the dimension here to 3000, and then click on the cylinder, click on the D means the diameter. Obviously we're gonna have to keep it the same, so let's make it 3000, and H is obviously the height. That's without your heads and the bottoms. So make that 3000 and the height 7000. Let's click on number 3 under shapes, and again you have to define the what do you call the head, the diameter of your toruspheric head, but from the bottom. So perfect. Now we're done with the shape bit, and now under general, you should have it should say vertical vessel and tag. Go ahead and click on the tag. It's a good practice to always assigning the tag right when you draw or create an equipment. This will save you a lot of headache, and you know what, if you want later on you can always change it. So just type 1 on number, tank is TK. Go ahead, assign, it should show TK001, and then you can say elevation. Where do you want the elevation to be? Okay, so let's think about this. Okay, so we don't want it at all the way at the bottom to the ground, so we want the elevation to be, I think mine was a meter. Was it a meter? No, it was 500 millimeter. Okay, let's go ahead and make the elevation 500 millimeter, and let's see, the very last thing is properties. We're gonna leave this alone for now. Here you can enter more information about material, manufacturer, and if it was pre-designed you will have all that information, and it would also let you change the description and the nozzles and all that jazz, but we're gonna just ignore that, just keep it as is for now. Let's go back to equipment, and I just realized something. We should probably make it a little bit smaller in height. Okay, why don't we just do 6000? It's 6000 still be good enough. Let's make the 6000 for height, and let's go ahead and click create. And now as you can see, there's a tank stuck to your cursor. So let's now take this tank and put it on the midpoint of this little bugger here, the line we drew, and let's turn it 90 degrees. Now as you can see, once you have snapped onto the reference point, now you get to choose which sort of rotation do you want. Where do you want your tank to be? Which way facing? I know it's a tank, but you do have nozzles. So I want the nozzles to face this way, toward line AB. As you can see, the nozzle you can kind of probably see. Okay, let's go ahead and click again, and that should lock it in. Here you can see the nozzles, or one nozzle here, and so that's that. And now you can go ahead and delete the line, or you can just keep it for now. Maybe we'll have to move it again. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to add a pump. Okay, so again you would have dimensions of how far does it need to be from a certain grid point. So go ahead, let's go ahead and draw line that would define how far away it needs to be. Okay, so let's say we wanted 500 millimeter this way. So let's go and type 500, enter. Okay, maybe 500 is too little. Escape to get out. Let's just draw one. Okay, here's a good point. So if I right now, I've showed you guys before, I type in line, enter, and I say, okay, specify the first point. Now if I control and right click, I get to choose only a very specific snap-on point. So let's choose a very specific snap-on point. Where is the nearest? Nearest is what I'm looking for. There we go. So the nearest. So what this one does, it's if you're close to a line, it would just keep it there. So let's choose this line, and then we're gonna go and become perpendicular to that line over there, and that's it. Press escape to get out, and let's take a look at the line. Do you see what I've done? It's actually nicely snapped on to the perpendicularly to the other one, because we had our on the snap on, we had turned on perpendicular, which is very useful. Okay, so let's go ahead and add this. So we're going to go back to the home tab, and under equipment we're going to create another equipment. So let's go ahead and click on that. So let's go back to the drop down menu, and we're going to choose a pump. Okay, let's choose a centrifugal pump. Click on that. Long description. You can add a long description if you want. We can just call it pump. Tag again. Let's get into habit of always assigning the tag, and we're gonna assign number 1 to it, and we're gonna keep this as is because we're not sure exactly what size of centrifugal pump we're gonna need, because we don't have any specification. Again, under properties there is a lot more option to change and add information. You would do that if it was already pre-designed and you have chosen your pump and you know the dimensions of it. Let's go back to equipment. So everything is good. Let's click on create. Now it's going to ask me to snap onto a point. Okay, so let's snap onto this midpoint here. Perfect. Now it's again giving me the option of rotating around our XY axis. Usually that's what it will do. So wherever your user defined XY axis is, it will let you rotate around that when you add a brand new equipment. So let's say we want it there. So just snap it onto from there to there and click OK, and it's added. Perfect. Now we're going to do is add another pump. Okay, so to do this, let's go ahead, make sure our user defined coordinate system is there, and we're going to go ahead and click on the top. Now if your top is showing up like this and you don't like it, just grab this little gizmo wheel thingy and kind of rotate most of the way close to the view as you can, and then just click on topic and it should align perfectly. Okay, so let's select this pump and we're going to mirror it. This is going to be one of our first introduction to the modeling and modify palette. So under modeling tab, let's go to modify. And if you drop down modify, again, same thing goes for all of this ones. If you just go to one of these icons and just hover, first there will be a small description, then it'll pop up and become big one. So that's actually pretty useful. So we're gonna go ahead and use this after pressing. Okay, let's show that again. Under modeling, modify, press the drop down, and we're going to use mirror. So once you have already selected the object, and then if you press mirror, it's going to ask you to specify the first point of mirror line. We're going to choose the center point. And then it's going to ask you to specify the second point of the mirror line. So let's proceed. If I were to choose it here, it's going to do something weird. So I'm just going to choose it here so it just mirrors around that line. And choose your second point. Then it's always going to ask you erase the source object, and here we don't want to, so we're gonna click on no and done. Okay, so another way, I'm just gonna quickly show that it goes for lots of other commands. If object is not selected and then you choose mirror, then you will ask you to choose the object first. So I'm gonna choose the object, just because you can choose more than one object. So you gotta press enter to go into the next phase of the input. Then it's gonna ask you to choose the first mirror point. I'm gonna choose that. Choose the second mirror point. Choose that. Click on no. Bam, done. Let's take a look at this here, and oh, Perfect. It looks pretty good. Okay, I'm gonna keep it at that for this video. I have already gone on for a bit, and so I will see you guys on the next one where we're going to create a custom equipment from existing shape. Okay,